Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffe Kennedy, author of Epic Fantasy Romance. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. That's good. Today is Tuesday, December 6th. And I don't know. Here we are. It is release day for two people that are good friends who I love and adore. One of them is the fabulous Miss Darynda Jones. A Hard Day for a Hangover is out today. Third and final book in her Sunshine Vikram trilogy. Uh, it is, of course, fabulous, as everything she writes is fabulous. So I will link to that in the show notes, but check it out. Darynda does not need my help pimping her books, but nevertheless, congratulations, Darynda. It is also release day for, gotta love Tuesdays, right? For WINGS Unfurled by Rebecca Gomez Farrell. This is the second book in her Wings Rising duology. Looks like she's calling it a duology. It won't keep going. The first book was Wings Unseen, and it came out a long time ago. There was a considerable gap between these two books. And I'm not sure what, I'm sort of looking at her website and trying to figure out when Wings Unseen came out. And it was a while ago. But I blurbed it. Uh, my blurb lives on in the front matter. So I'm very happy to congratulate Rebecca on Wings Unfurled. I've read it and it's a delightful fantasy. She's got an almost Arthurian approach to fantasy. So, recommending it to all of you out there. I will post, um, I need to post reviews. I have just, I used to be so good at putting stuff on Goodreads and BookBub, and then I started adding it to my to-do list, and it slid down my to-do list. And I don't know what my problem is. It feels like one of those tasks that I just, I don't know. It carries much more weight than it should. So I will mention at this point in time that I've also read, of course, my bestie Grace Draven's Raven Unveiled. I finished that over Thanksgiving, so I just haven't been back here to talk about it. And it's, of course, ravishing and heartbreaking and wonderful. And I need to post a review of that also. I just made myself notes to post reviews of those. Though, the podcast shout out counts, right? Um, if I had an enormous podcast following, I treasure each and every one of you, but I am not, I know I'm not like one of the top podcasts. If I was like one of the top podcasts, then I could just mention books on this show and that would count. But I've just made myself a note to review both Raven Unveiled and Wings Unfurled and notice the commonality between those two books. That's interesting, isn't it? First word, singular noun. Well, not singular, is it? But nouns. One being the bird and one being part of a bird, and then both of them uns for the second word adjective, unveiled, unfurled. Interesting. Coincidence? We don't know. Of course, Darynda's the outlier there. A hard day for a hangover, reflecting her native humor. So yesterday I got back more into my groove. Um, Maybe in my groove is the wrong way to put it. Sort of bouncing a little. I was definitely not having my concentration yet. I complained to Megan about it that I was feeling kind of blue. I was feeling that come down, and she said that she's really found that she, after a big trip like that, um, she needs decompress time, to regain her mental equanimity, and to be gentle with myself. It's always interesting to me when people, my friends, suggest that I be gentle with myself because it makes me realize that maybe I am not always. Uh, and then not sure what that means, right? What does being gentle with myself mean? Um, I suppose maybe not expecting too much of a performance. I don't know. But I really want to get this book rolling. So far, I'm not feeling the Christmas spirit. I'm feeling like there's a lot to do to get ready for Christmas, and I'm not feeling that yet. But then I look back and I was really traveling for almost 2 solid weeks and um, a couple of busy months before that. So being gentle, lower expectations. For some reason, I always think of when we talk about like self care or being gentle with ourselves, I always think of hot baths, um, which is, I think, because it's like the classic suggestion of what you should do is indulge in a long bath, a hot bath with candlelight and a book, a glass of wine. And I wish my house had a better bathtub. Maybe I would do that. But, it's sort of like, then I think of things like massages, but I had 2 massages last week, which were amazing. Um, yeah, so I think maybe being gentle is just like lowering expectations. That's what I'm going with. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Which will be ironic because I'm also talking about my expectations. I talked with Agent Sarah yesterday, setting out some timing, planning for something else. There's something else going on that I can't talk to all yet, but I'm going to be spearheading that. I've got some good people helping me. Stay tuned for that next week. There's just a lot of things going on right now, it feels like. It's interesting because at the onset of the pandemic, and I feel like I'm in a pandemic reflective mood because I've also been reading this book, The Trades of March 2020, which this is not my normal read, right? A Shield Against Uncertainty. But this is written by my friend Alex Warovich, whose house we went to. That's Alex. Whose house we went to for the Kauai retreat. Um, and he gave me a copy of this book, which was about, because he's like this finance person, right? And so it's all about the trades that they did during March of 2020. That's the title. And he has all these screen captures of, because they were all on Slack with his team and, trying to make these decisions as like the global economy collapsed in the early days of the pandemic. And it's really a gripping book. I would never have said this before, but it is really, really interesting. And this is from someone who like the most I understand about stock market stuff is buy low, sell high. I don't really get the whole finance trading thing. He attempted to patiently explain to me the difference between bonds and stocks, and I think I understand. But so this sort of gives you a grounding of where I come from on this stuff. But it's really well done in that it's almost more creative nonfiction because he weaves in some of the stuff that's going on in his life at the same time. And there's a scene of like shortly after, and he leads with this, shortly after the shelter in place was ordered in San Francisco where he lives, that his wife found him on the bathroom floor, like collapsed. And it's looking back on those early pressures of the pandemic and how it affected us, I'm tempted to go back and listen to some of my podcasts then because I want to hear like at what point was I thinking about lockdown and preparing and all of those things. It's interesting to reconstruct now. So I had a thread that I was following on that because this is making me think about early days of pandemic and fallout from pandemic. Oh, so one of the things they warned us about was because the healthcare system was so overloaded, when in the early days when they were begging us to stay home and to try to stop the spread of COVID, which didn't work. Uh, they warned us that the overloading of the healthcare system would have ramifications that went beyond um, just COVID, because they said that we would end up having all of these additional health problems because people would be neglecting their their care. That they wouldn't be going in for regular checkups, that their physicians wouldn't be able to give them, the tests and all of those things, and that we would see this upswing in non-COVID related illnesses. And I feel like we're seeing that now. I know several people that are dealing with stuff. A good friend of Darynda's, her husband just died of lymphoma. Um, been in chemo, and they said, well, the chemo's not working anymore, and then he died, and that's been hugely difficult and disruptive. She's had a bad couple of weeks. Uh, my favorite yoga teacher had to have surgery, and they sent out a notice to us saying that they found she has a rare form of cancer, and so now she has to have a second surgery and won't be back till January. So thinking good thoughts for you, Melissa. Um, Very selfishly, I want her to come back so that I can do yoga again with her. Uh, but there just seems to be a lot of this going around, and maybe that's my perception. I haven't looked at the statistics. Well, I tried a good quick Google search and didn't come up with anything. It could be my perception. Um, Several people have pointed out that this is kind of like stage of life too for people, like my friends, uh, that this is when people start, getting those late midlife chronic diseases and stuff. Hooray, joyful. So sorry, this turned out to be not a non-perky podcast, right? Uh, yeah, I think things feel like a lot right now. Am I the only one feeling that way? Uh, when I had brunch with the fabulous Megan Mulry on Sunday morning, um, we went to the tea house. I don't know if I mentioned that yesterday, and I told her about the writing retreat and all of this. She's an excellent audience for all tales, but um, I got slightly distracted by that, thinking about our storytelling, catching up on stuff. Oh, one thing she said to me, I was like, oh, and now I've got to get ready for Christmas. And she's like, well, aren't you going to your mother's for Christmas? And I said, yes. And she said, well, maybe you don't need to like go all out decorating, Jeffy. Maybe you don't need an 8-foot Christmas tree. And I was like, the hell you say? I just bought, I'm going to show you all, for those of you on video anyway. She'd kind of convinced me. And then I realized that I just bought these in Tucson, which now feels forever ago. But I got these really cool LED lights from Crate and Barrel. For those of you not on video, they're like gold wire, very thin gold wire with little LED lights that glow gold. So for those of you who have followed me for a long time, you know that my Christmas tree has pearl lights on it. I've had, let me tell you people, I've had fucking pearl lights on my Christmas tree. Is it wrong to call a Christmas tree ornament fucking? No, I don't think so. Like my aunt very famously once uh, arrived for Christmas and said, ho, ho, fucking ho. So this is my family. I kind of want to plug these in to show you. Maybe I will. Um, but anyway, I've had those pearl lights. I remember this since my very early days with David. So this would have been Christmas of 91. We were still in that little tiny apartment. And it was the year that my stepson was in the hospital over Thanksgiving. And we were taking turns doing vigil in the hospital. But I went to Walmart because I lived in a small town in Wyoming. That was the only place we had to go. And I bought ornaments and decorations for the Christmas tree, because it was like the first time that I had felt like I was staying in a place and, kind of had a home as opposed to departing to go to someone else's home. And I needed stuff for the Christmas tree, and I bought all this ribbon and I bought these pearl lights. And the pearl lights have, I mean, to be fair, it's been a long time, 30 years. And so I've replaced them gradually over time, but they've gotten, I don't know, I'm over them. It it takes me a while to get over stuff, but so now I kind of want to do these. Shall we plug them in for those of you on video? There, see? Aren't those pretty? What a nice soft glow. So yeah, I might have to get a Christmas tree. Mom, we need to talk about the fact that you didn't give me my drops that we bought. Oops. Okay. So we'll see. I suspect that some of the being gentle with myself is giving myself more than a couple of days to kind of regroup and figure out what the hell I'm doing with my life. I did share on Facebook yesterday that on December 5th last year, so a year ago exactly, I had already had all my outside decorations up and had been having a lovely happy hour with the fire table on the patio. But I also had not been doing all this travel last year. So gentle, gentle. So yeah, I talked a little bit yesterday about kind of dislodging myself from the plot of this movie for the Bandits book that I'm working on and going more with the premise. I emailed back and forth with Jennifer Estep a little bit about it, and she reiterated her problems with the movie plot, which I found interesting. She's much better at pre-plotting than I am, so I do take her advice very seriously, and she's got good insight. She's also much better at like action-oriented stuff. So I don't know, maybe I should give her the beginning of this book to read. That might be helpful. I asked Sarah if she wanted to read what I had so far, because I told her I'm not getting it to her in December. It'll be January. And asked if she wanted to read the beginning so far, and she said it was totally up to me. So I think it's not ready for Sarah's eyes, but maybe it is ready for Jennifer's eyes. It's rickety, lots of square brackets. I'll have to ask her if she minds that, but she'll probably have a pretty good insight. I just may do this. So let's see, what else do I have to tell you all? Things feel quiet right now. It could be that we are in that kind of publishing non-time between Thanksgiving and Christmas when New York has pretty much shut down. HarperCollins strike is ongoing. I don't know how that's going to work out for them. Yeah, it just feels like there's not a lot of activity out there right now. Maybe that's me emerging from my cocoon, but yeah, things feel kind of quietish, and maybe that's good. So let me all know. Let me all know. You all let me know what you think, your thoughts on these things. Maybe we're all just sort of taking a moment to assess, wondering what 2023 will bring. So, all right, well, I'm going to focus on this book. Hopefully, wish me well in concentrating, and I will talk to you all on Thursday. Well, take care.